Welcome to the Your City podcast, where we get to know our neighbors so that we can be good neighbors. I'm your host, Aaron Williams, and before we get started, we're going to say a thank you to this episode's sponsor, Sweet Tings Cakes and Cookies. Sweet Tings is a Gardendale-based certified home baker who specializes in decorated cakes and cookies for all occasions. She's super passionate about creating beautiful memories for her clients through her homemade sweets, whether it's for a birthday party, wedding, baby shower, anniversary, or any holiday celebration. You can reach out to Sweet Tings for some delicious and professional-looking desserts that will be sure to please the crowd. You can find her on Facebook at Sweet Tings Cakes and Cookies or give her a call at 205-223-4861. Today, I'm joined by Mayor Stan Hogeland, who has been mayor of Gardendale for the last 6 years. We're going to talk about his role and history as mayor, what led him to this pass, and discuss his vision for Gardendale. Mayor Hogeland, thank you for coming on to the show.
Hey, glad to be here, Aaron.
Yeah, I'm thankful that you agreed to this.
Yeah.
Before we get into all the deep topics, I just really wanted to talk, what are the responsibilities of a small town mayor?
Great question. I think there's a kind of a multitude of answers, but primarily, as mayor of Gardendale, I'm the CEO of the city and oversee all the governmental functions, over all the employees, and then work with the city council on creating policies and just making sure our city government runs smoothly.
Gotcha. So it's very important for you to have a relationship with lots of people in the city.
Yeah, and I'm born and raised here, so I've been here all my life. Served as Park and Rec director for 35 years, so I do know a lot of people in the city. So and relationships are important to me. So that's really why I decided to serve anyway.
Okay, so you've lived here your whole life. What made you leave? You said you were working on Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Right? You were the director there?
I was.
What was that like? What types of responsibilities does a Parks and Rec person have?
Well, it was my dream job.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I was blessed to have a job that I loved doing my entire life. And so I had, the way I describe it, I built parks, playgrounds. I was here when the city was really young and didn't have a lot of these features that we have now. So I was kind of on the ground floor building splash pads, tennis courts. I had my hand on a lot of things for, serving mayors that were mentors to me, that I love serving and then just really just love my job every day.
So you've had a wonderful opportunity to watch Gardendale just grow and evolve over the years,
right,
and stuff like that. That's got to be really awesome to be able to look back and know that you played a part in that.
Yeah, it is, and lots of people have, and again, I was just fortunate to be in a position like that, and just really enjoyed it every day. Nice.
So you left your dream job of director of Parks and Recreation to become a city councilman, right?
I did.
What spurred that on?
So I guess it was the spring of 2012. I started feeling like I was being called to go into politics, and that I needed to give my job up in order to do that. And I resisted for a while, and I went to my wife after a couple of weeks of that and told her what was happening to me, and I said, I'm thinking about leaving my job and going into politics. And I would have expected her to have said her exact words with, "You have lost your mind." and she said that because she knew how much I love my job.
Yeah.
And I would have to retire.
So she was more concerned about like sort of your mental state on this.
That's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah. So but she was all in after we talked about it and prayed about it, and so that's what I did.
Okay.
And I ran for city council for District 5 and won that. And then, I served a little over 3 years. And previous Mayor Othell Phillips took a position with the county commission, and by law, I became mayor. And that was in 2015, August of 2015.
So the role of mayor was appointed to you.
Yeah, in Alabama state law, if it reads that if a mayor steps down, that the council president would become mayor.
Oh,
And
okay.
so I was council president. Actually, I was first council president in the history of the city, because that was when our city government reached our population reached a certain population that by law we became a council president form of government. And so that I was serving in that role after I got elected.
Was mayor something that you wanted to be at the time?
Well, I knew once I made the decision to run for office that I would that I would seek the mayor's position at some point.
Okay.
So I really had not planned to run for mayor until the next term.
Mm-hmm. 2016?
2016.
Okay.
So I had intentions of running into 2016. It just got here a little quicker than I thought.
Awesome. Well, that's really crazy to, sort of just have that. Was it like a big surprise? Was it a big shift to have something like that shift out from underneath you? You were a city councilman, all of a sudden you're mayor?
It was a surprise. And Othell and I were friends, and he just came to me and said, "Hey, you ready to be mayor?" And I didn't know what he's talking about, and that's how it happened.
Nice. So that seems like kind of not the normal process
Right.
that somebody would become mayor.
Yeah.
What does the normal process for young aspiring mayors out there?
Yeah.
What is the normal process for getting involved in local politics like this?
Yeah, well, it's the same way when I decided to run for city council. You pay a fee. I forget what the fee is. It's not very much. I think it's $50
to the city of Gardendale.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
and then you just sign up, start your campaign. Really, and
what is running a campaign? What does that look like for a small town?
It's interesting because, when I decided to run, but most things I do, if I decide to do it, I'm all in.
Okay.
So I knocked on every door in District 5, which we have some large subdivisions in Gardendale in that district, especially Lexington Park and
so your feet were hurting.
Longwood, and yes, and had family members that went along with me a lot of those days, and then I gave every resident in District 5 my personal cell phone number.
Mm-hmm.
And a card, and so that was intense. It's in the summer. Our elections are in August, so it's very hot, and a mayor's race would be different. I ran unopposed in 2016. I ran unopposed in 2020. So. And fortunately, I didn't have to worry about that. Both times I was ready.
Yeah,
I had a plan of action, but you can't go door to door in a town this big. So you just hit as many as you can.
Houses.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that would get a little crazy.
So it's and then it's just meeting people.
Building relationships.
Building relationships. That's right.
I would think that you would need to get some of the bigger businesses to, sort of, I don't know what a mayor campaign would look like, but I imagine you want to get big businesses on your side or something like that.
Well, obviously anything you do requires money. So, but a lot of times people, if they believe in you, they just step up with money and just offer to help you. And I had several of those initially, and
Mm-hmm.
even the years that I ran unopposed, I would still have people that wanted to donate to my campaign, because as you approach those election years, you don't know if you're going to have an opponent or not, and most of the time you do. I get people joke to me about not ever getting a vote, and people have the opportunity to run. So I'm fortunate,
Yeah.
to have had those years without an opponent. But you always prepare to have an opponent.
Yeah. Do you look at those unopposed races as a sign that the people of Gardendale are supportive of you, or, at least you're doing something right? Nobody's out there trying to,
Yeah.
take it away?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any question, and I say that very humbly because I'm very appreciative. I think people know me, know that they can trust me, and know that I'm gonna work hard,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna try to do my very best for the citizens of Gardendale, and that's where it starts. These relationships, people have got to trust you.
Well, how do you do that? How do you build trust with your community?
Well, I think they just see how you live your life.
Mm-hmm.
And through the power of social media now, it's a little easier than it used to be. People see me with my family, my kids, my grandkids, my wife,
Yeah, they can see you every
so
day.
yeah. And it's, most people know who I am around here.
Gotcha.
So and I try to be personable. I don't, if they call me, I return their calls, and I think most people know that. And I don't dodge tough questions. I usually hit them head on,
Mm-hmm.
and don't try to hide, and just try to put myself out there up front and personal.
Yeah, yeah. Be open, be a
Yeah,
little
just
vulnerable.
be myself.
Yeah.
That's what I try.
And it sounds like being open, right? Being open and transparent.
Sure.
Anyone can approach you. Do you have like an open door policy up here at the city hall?
Absolutely.
Okay.
My door is rarely closed. It's never locked.
Mm-hmm.
My computer sits on my desk. My papers are on my desk, and that's just the way I work. And if somebody wants to see me and I'm here and I'm available, they get to, you're not going to catch me here very often, I guess, with just a totally open schedule. Because if I'm in the office, a lot of people have their hands, on my schedule.
Well, I know that you have your business card here at the city hall.
Right.
That's got your personal cell phone on it.
That's right.
So like, even if you're not available here,
Oh yeah, and that's the other thing is again through technology and social media. I mean, I get them through LinkedIn, I get them through Facebook, through Messenger, through Twitter,
Mhm.
text messages, emails. If you say you try to get a hold of me and you don't get a hold of me, you didn't try very hard. So sorry.
Gotcha. Talking about the people of Gardendale trying to get a hold of you,
Right.
one of the biggest things about local communities and local politics is making sure that the community is heard.
Right.
How can the people of Gardendale make sure that their voices are heard by Mayor Stan Hogeland or the city council?
So I think the big thing is just know who your elected officials are. Gardendale's comprised into 5 districts, and 1 through 5, and so you can go to the city website, see how the district lines are drawn, and then there's ways to connect with your council member. I'm here for everybody. It don't matter what district you live in. It really didn't matter when I was a city councilman, because I had knew so many people in all the districts of Gardendale that I didn't really feel like I just represented District 5, although that's the way it's set up. So find out who your mayor and council member is, and then get involved. Our city council meetings are on the first and third Tuesday of every month here at City Hall. They start at 6:00. Everybody's welcome. We don't have a whole lot of people attend.
Why do you think that is?
I think there's a couple things. One is, people are busy, and people are busier than they used to be, back in my earlier years. And it's just, I think it's the times we live in, and there's probably some apathy, but I think it's primarily because people are busy. And then, it can be a sign of trust if people trust you and trust their elected officials. They say, well, that's what I elected him to do. But that would be and I encourage people to do that all the time. And so that would be the best way,
Okay, so come up here to the city council meetings and stuff like that.
Right.
Do you think that there's an opportunity to use, you were talking about how technology has allowed you to personally connect with more and more people in Gardendale than you could physically. Do you think that there's an opportunity to allow for technology to make outreach from the public more available?
So outreach to the public?
Outreach from the public.
Oh, from the public. Boy, I don't know how I could get more messages than I do already, to be honest with you.
Okay.
But I think I'm sure you're on to something there. I think it will be more and more available, and as technology, advances, there'll be more and more ways. That's the thing. It's like I said, trying to keep those messages organized, because typically when somebody's reaching out to me, they got a problem. And then you got to, okay, did I see that, in Messenger, or was it a text, or was it an email? Was it through LinkedIn?
There's all these different places where it could be.
And again, I take each situation and request serious, and I don't want to ignore them. I'm human. Sometimes I forget. And so it's just kind of keeping all those organized and making sure I do what people have asked me to do.
Gotcha. Talking about working as a mayor, what are some of the biggest challenges that you faced during your term as mayor?
The biggest challenge early on was when we attempted to form our own school system.
Yeah.
That was a very difficult time, a very trying time. And so that was a challenge. It whether you believed in it or didn't believe in it, or for it or against it, one thing it did, it kind of splintered the community, and so since those efforts failed, the next challenge, I think, was building the community back.
Yeah.
In Gardendale's truly a special place when it comes to community. I talk about it all the time, about our sense of community. So is getting that back, and and then just all coming together. And I think there has been a lot of healing done, and relationships have healed, and now we're all in this together. We've got great schools in our city.
Yeah.
And with good leadership, I've Dr. Gonsolin, who is the director of the Jefferson County Board of Education, the superintendent, excuse me, but he's a good friend. We talk frequently, and then we're going to do everything we can as a municipality to help our schools. So that's probably I know that was a long answer. That was probably the biggest challenge. I guess the next ongoing challenge, all during that time and continuing on always, as cost of city services increase, And you know, across the country, you've seen how everything costs more now. And, so especially during this time, we have to continue to work to grow our tax base, and by attracting new businesses, and you know, whether it be retail, restaurants, or you know, medical businesses that we really pride ourselves on now. You know, all of them are critically important and needed to grow the tax base that pay for quality of life improvements that our citizens expect and deserve.
Yeah. Going back to the school system, what spurred that initiative? What made you guys want to be your own school system separate from Jefferson County?
Yeah, it was just the thought of a smaller system, to have local control. Just felt like, and seeing how successful other city school systems had been.
Yeah.
So that was the
things like
that was
places like Mountain Brook and stuff like that.
Vestavia, Trussville, Satsuma,
Yeah.
Pike Road, cities up and down the state. So
Gotcha.
You know, but that didn't work. So
why not?
You know, it was challenged in federal court, and so we lost.
Well, why do you think that the challenge? You know, obviously y'all took it all the way to court, right? Why do you think that the courtroom ruled against you?
It was primarily challenged, and I'm not an attorney, and so my answers may not be as smoothly as they've been, you know, in the previous parts of the interview, but it was challenged that you know, that the stout order that actually integrated schools when I was in the 7th grade was still in place, and Jefferson County had not achieved unitary status, and by us doing that, it would be in violation of that. So that was basically the grounds. And so again, it's, you know, we tried, it didn't work.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here? And that's trying to do everything we can to help our local schools in building these relationships. You know, that we keep saying the word relationship.
It's important stuff.
It's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And what can we do to help our local schools? I've got a check sitting in there in my office for $250,000 that we will be giving to our local schools here in the city. So we're proud we can do that.
So you weren't able to establish your own smaller and probably more accountable system.
Sure.
For Gardendale. What have you done since then that has, in your mind, helped you get to that point where you wanted to be? What, you know, like you wanted to get to that point where you could improve the school system. What have you been doing since that ruling that has kind of lined up with that vision?
So I mean, there's several things. We like I said, we typically give $250,000 a year to the local schools. We give an individual stipend to each school teacher that teach at the 4 schools in our city. We partnered with the Jefferson County Board of Education to put synthetic turf on our high school football field. We shared that cost with them. It's been
What's the benefit of synthetic turf?
The fact that, you know, it's more durable, doesn't requure as much maintenance.
It's a maintenance. It reduces maintenance.
And then it's a pride issue. You know, there's lots that used to be kind of a, I guess, quote, a luxury. It's very common now.
Yeah.
Most of your
in my industry, we refer to things like that as technical debt because you have to pay a maintenance tax on it. That's kind of how we. In the computer world, you know, it's like, hey, if you don't write this the correct way, if you don't write your code the correct way, you have to pay a maintenance tax on it.
Yeah.
So we got to go pay off technical debt to reduce the maintenance tax.
Right. Yeah,
so,
you're over my head now.
Okay. All right. So I was just trying to relate.
Yeah, and that's a good point.
Well, it sounds like the county had a really big impact, and even the federal government had a really big impact on the day on sort of what Gardendale was trying to achieve here.
Right.
What other types of influence does the county or the state of Alabama have on Gardendale?
So I think they're vitally important. As Mayor Gardendale, I think it's important for me to have a relationship with our county commissioner Joe Knight. I think it's important to have a relationship with our state senator Shay Shelnut, uh, our House of Representative Alan Treadaway. All of these people are in my phone. We talk frequently. We're and they've been great to work with me. And anytime that I've called on them for help, they've always been there. But it's important because they can do things and help in ways that I can't, just because of the different forms of government.
Yeah.
So the county government and the state government are very important. And then as you get in on the federal level, um, you know, having a relationship with Congressman Gary Palmer is very important. He meets quarterly with several of the area mayors just to let us know what's going on in Washington, and also to hear the things that we hear every day, and issues that they may can help us with. So again, it's all about relationships.
Yeah. So you have a relationship with the people of Gardendale, and then you represent them to the county
Absolutely.
and represent them to the state, and it just sort of bubbles up that way.
Absolutely. And they have their individual opportunities, and but sometimes they know that it might be easier for me to contact them for them, and
Yeah.
I'm always glad to do that, or either to make that connection with either them or one of their staff members, and they all have great staff members too, so that really helps.
With this in mind, so you were describing you'd call them and talk to them for help, but like help on what?
So it could be, sometimes it's money,
Okay.
certain types of funding
Yeah.
available in certain areas that the county controls, that the state controls, or the federal government controls, from roads to infrastructure to
Okay.
senior centers to just parks, just lots of ways. Legislation that you're hearing that from our constituents that would be important. The sales tax that started coming to cities that from online shopping that we were losing as a state at one time.
Okay.
That's become critically important for not just Gardendale, but for all municipalities across the state.
Mm-hmm.
And another outlet that we have that we work with is the Alabama League of Municipalities, and that's an organization that works for the municipalities, lobbying the areas of state and federal government on behalf of cities. So that is a key organization for us to be involved with as well.
It just all seems so complicated, and like there's so many high ranking officials and people involved, all making decisions and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's lots of layers.
Yeah.
And a lot of it I like, and a lot of it I don't like.
Yeah.
So, but it's something that you have to be aware of, and then, and I think it's important for mayors to learn those ways to navigate those areas. You got to do it if you're going to do the best you can.
Well, you said there are things that you like and don't like. What are some things that you think work well?
So, as far as being mayor, if most of the time, if someone has a need, I can help them most of the time. And that's very rewarding, especially with the older people that you've known all your life, Sometimes they just have a need, and it could just be, something on the street they live on, or a concern in their neighborhood, or those type of things. Most of the time, I love every opportunity I get to be able to help someone. That's really kind of my passion.
Yeah.
And I think that's how you get things done as a citizen, is if you know there's a problem and you see there's a problem, let somebody know.
Yeah.
Contact me, my office, or their city councilman. That's what we're all here for, and that's what we're supposed to do.
So you think that the communication layer works pretty well?
Yeah, I do. I think overall we're pretty responsive to the calls. Some things people want us to do something about, we really can't. Some things we can.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you, for example, we have people that drive too fast through our neighborhoods. And it's not just one particular neighborhood. It's every neighborhood that has any kids on it. I've been that same parent. It would infuriate me when somebody would drive too fast down my street because my kids were playing in the yard. And but you go out there, you write a few tickets, you try to patrol that, and but you can't be everywhere all the time. And so, that's a little frustrating sometimes, but overall, when somebody has a need, we're pretty good at being able to correct it.
That's good. With all of these different, like we were talking about, high-ranking people that
Right.
are, state of Alabama representatives, senators, federal representatives, things like that. How can the people help prevent a governing body from becoming corrupt?
I think you pay attention to the people you elect. So, no offense to the state and federal officials, but they don't see everybody around town like I do.
Okay.
And they'll tell you how important your local government is. You see these people whether you see them at church or at Walmart or at the park or whatever, find out who your elected officials are. If you see them out, stop them and have a conversation with them. So I think it's getting to know them. And then if you don't like what you see, you vote them out.
Yeah.
So
that's actually, talking about getting to know people.
Yeah.
That's something that I'm hoping that, stuff like this, what we're doing right now, can do.
Yeah. And I think you've got a great idea here.
Well, thank you. This is a personal opinion, and if you don't feel comfortable answering this, that's fine.
Yeah.
How do you feel like the state of Alabama and the county of Jefferson, how do you feel like they do when it comes to representing the people that live there? Do you feel like corruption gets in the way of that, or do you feel like the people of Alabama are very heard?
Unfortunately, corruption happens, and I don't know that there's any way that you can totally eliminate it. But if you're not, I think if you're not comfortable in what you're seeing, then you've got a duty to vote these people out. A lot of them take care of themselves. They go to jail. So, but that's when they do the wrong thing. So, unfortunately, and I'm not perfect, but I'm not corrupt. And for those of us who try to do the right thing, it's a little bit harder because of the distrust of government officials as a whole.
Yeah.
and that's just something you have to overcome and do your best, and then just again, it's just about trying to do the right thing.
That's why it's so important for there to be trust in our institutions.
Absolutely.
We need to be able to trust that the people that are in the position are there because they're trying to do the job, not trying to do themselves a favor, not trying to do themselves a favor. And I don't know, that's something that I feel like there's so much room for improvement on in terms of making people feel like they can trust their institutions. I feel like in the last decade, it really has fallen.
I can't argue with you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, a lot of times I'm distrusting as the next guy, so.
And I guess it's just like what you're saying. You gotta be more aware, and you gotta be, you gotta be aware of who's representing you, and you gotta be aware of the decisions that are being made around you.
That's right. That's right.
When it comes to those types of decisions, some of those are policy decisions.
Mm-hmm.
In your opinion, how do you measure the success of a policy? How do you know if a policy has achieved what it was set out to do?
Yeah. Well, a lot of times there's clear-cut evidence of those different type of policies that you can see. A lot of times you may not see the successes, but you can see the failures and know why important it is you have a policy to handle what you see failing. A lot of times those type things happen in your zoning ordinances and different things that basically require people to take care of their place and not allow your city to go downhill. Those are challenging. Those are serious issues sometimes, and everybody doesn't buy into that. It's now we're getting into government overreach, and to be honest with you, I'm one of those people too. That's a challenge for me personally. When I grew up, we lived in unincorporated Jefferson County, and we didn't have as many rules and things. But now, if you live in the city limits, you have more rules, and but you also have more things that are given to you because
amenities.
You do amenities, and those type things. So, but I think a lot of times they're either clearly visible on the success or clearly visible on the problem and why you have a policy to get it corrected. And then a lot of it people let you know.
Yeah.
I think the public perception, it don't take very long in Gardendale to word get around, and people either let you know, yeah, I like that, or hey man, I'm just gonna let you know I didn't like that.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
It's a lot easier to hold politicians accountable at a local level.
It is. It's no question. I had an opportunity to run for a state office a few years back, and to be honest with you, there's no question. I feel like it would have been easier because, you're not as visible.
You're further away from the problem.
Yeah, as you are in your local government.
What made you turn it down?
I just didn't feel like that was what God was calling me to do. I just didn't feel right.
Well, as mayor, you are obviously making decisions with a vision, the goal in mind.
Sure.
At the moment, what is your vision for Gardendale? Where do you think Gardendale can be 5 to 10 years from now?
It's back to that earlier topic we had in regards to growing our tax base. That's going to be critically important year in, year out. We've got to keep doing everything we can to grow our tax base. We've got an interstate development that is looking like it's about to start kicking off, and that will bring benefits to the city. We need to continue to capitalize on the fact that we have firmly established ourselves as the medical hub of North Jefferson County.
Okay.
We have well over 100 medical related businesses in Gardendale. We're capitalizing on the largest industry in Birmingham, which is medical.
Yeah.
And we need to continue those efforts. The UAB development that happened in the heart of our city, $40 million project, a freestanding emergency room, that was such a critical, to me, it was the most important development in the history of the city.
This is the UAB next to the Buffalo Wild Wings?
Yes,
okay.
Yes. So just having that kind of health care available almost immediately that's just been a great quality of life improvement here. So capitalizing on that, and like we spoke about the schools, and the attempt to do that and it failing. So the mindset then was that we needed to invest in our children and our schools. As those efforts failed, and I went back to the council not too long ago, actually, about a year ago, and I said, hey, we made that decision to invest in kids and education. All right. So, and that was to form a school system. That didn't work. So what do we invest in now?
Mm-hmm.
I think, and that's what I challenged the city council. And I said, I don't think there's any doubt. We invest in kids and recreation because that's what's going to be important. And a lot of these young families, especially young professional families, this is a very sports-oriented state. Parks are important, and it's not just active recreation, but passive as well, from walking trails to tracks and those type things. So we made that decision to invest in our parks. We have this new park plan.
Yeah.
And we hope to begin construction on it early next year. And we're going to invest in one of the nicest parks in the state. This is going to be along I-65. And so I think that's important. And then then with that park, there'll be opportunities for weekend tournaments that attract visitors into town.
Okay. That
in turn help grow our tax base and hopefully have, additional hotels and eateries and those type things. So it's all of those things put together. That's, you say 5 to 10 years. That's the thing about this business. You have a conversation with someone about coming to your city, and typically every one of those, if you talk about it today, it's 2 years before it happens. That's been the biggest adjustment for me, is the speed of some of these areas of government.
Speed of government.
Oh, it's painful.
So with the parks and investing in kids and recreation,
mm-hmm.
Are you hoping to attract more young families to move to Gardendale? Is that what that's about?
Absolutely, because that that's what you need, and to just keep a vibrant community. To keep Gardendale the special community it is, to build on the sense of community that we have.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm gonna work every day for.
All right. Let me ask you 2 last questions. I've asked them to everybody so far. What is something that you love about Gardendale?
Again, it's the sense of community.
Yeah.
You let somebody have something happen in their life, and you just see everybody come from everywhere. You see a family lose a child. You see what happens when they're embraced. The different community events we have, on the Civic Center grounds, typically, and just it's just that sense of community that I think is very special, and I'm very proud of, and I think it's really important.
Gotcha. What do you think is something that Gardendale is doing now that they could improve on?
Well, we can improve on everything. I can assure you.
There's always room for improvement.
And there really is. You're always. What can we improve on? I'll tell you, for one thing, and it's an ongoing effort. I'm interviewing 2 people for jobs tomorrow. Every person that I've hired in this city since 2015, I've showed them a slide that's got the City of Gardendale logo along with the Publix logo and the Chick-fil-A logo.
Okay.
And I show them these 3, recognizable logos: City, Publix, Chick-fil-A. I said, I show you this because when you come to work here, this is how I expect you to treat people.
Okay.
And because typically, if you go into Publix or Chick-fil-A, they're going to treat you the way you want to be treated.
Yeah.
The overwhelming majority of the time.
My wife and I talk about Chick-fil-A. It's like, it may not be the best chicken, but it's the best service.
Absolutely. So I see city government just like that. We're in the customer service business just as much as Publix and Chick-fil-A are.
Okay.
I don't, it's not thought of as much. And so that's that mindset is what I'm trying to instill in all of our city employees.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's one area I think we can continue to improve. We're better, but we're not there yet. And, just cause I don't want the citizens to be frustrated when they attempt to, quote, do business with the city.
Mm-hmm.
I tell people we're really good at telling people why they can't do something. I mean, we are like really good about that. I want us to be just as good at showing them how they can do something.
Okay.
Don't just tell them,
don't just be a set of rules.
Yeah, why you can't do something. Show them how they can do it.
Yeah.
And there's typically a way. You may just have, and I know people don't like to jump through those hoops, but sometimes it's just what you have to do.
So instead of being a boundary, you want to be a path.
Absolutely. Create the path.
Okay.
Create the path.
Well, Mr. Mayor, is there anything that you wanted to close out with?
No, I thank you for the opportunity. I think this is a great idea. I encourage you to get other local politicians around. There's several of them. If I can do anything to help you, let me know. And
I'll help you. I'll let you help me wrangle them in.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. And
hey, hold on a minute.
Okay,
so
what's
you
up?
didn't ask me about my grandkids.
Oh, you know what? I totally forgot.
So I got 3 grandkids, and that's what's really important. And I got a beautiful wife too. So I'm gonna get those plugs in. Okay,
right,
and I got 2 beautiful kids and son-in-law, daughter-in-law, and
yeah.
But and I'm fortunate to still have my mom and my sister, and we just but family is important to me. But I was just joking.
Nice, strong family. Are they doing good in school?
But the 3 grandkids are what it's all about.
Yeah.
It's being a grandparent is a lot more fun than being a mayor.
I had a conversation with an old boss of mine one time, and we were talking about, like, what is the point of life? What is the meaning of life and everything like that. And to me, the perspective was the point of life, in my opinion, is to create or to give to the next generation.
Absolutely.
You got to plant trees that you will never stand in the shade in,
mm-hmm.
right? So it's
Absolutely.
like you got to be building the future for the next generation, setting them up for success.
Absolutely.
So I think that's a great point. Well, thank you guys for listening to the Your City podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation with Mayor Hogeland. If you enjoyed the show, you can help us out and support the show by donating on PayPal. You can use the link in the description to help us keep making the show and improving it. There's more that we want to do with this idea, and we would appreciate any support in helping us achieve our goal of creating better communities, not just for Gardendale, but for other cities as well. Thank you again for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.